do you feel something huge on the horizon?
Oh, absolutely. We're in for very big changes with the changes of the nodes, and as a collective, we've been talking about this a lot in the ISFM in our morning group, that we need to make room for what's coming in, because what's coming in is not what we're used to, and we have to be open to that change. And what is it with most people? We resist change, because it's fear. We'd rather stick with what we know, even if it's toxic sometimes, because we know how to navigate that. Toxic is familiar, and as sick as that sounds, we tend to do that a lot of times as people. It's like, because people are like, why do people always go back to their ex? Or why do they stay in that bad relationship? Because, again, with these weird word analogies, the devil you know is better than the devil you know.
Hey, welcome. This is Witchcraft TV Tarot with Rob, aka Mystical Mojo, the Bone Thrower, up in the mix. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to be here. We are now streaming on multiple platforms with an upgraded software. Homage to a brand new show that's coming to Witchcraft TV, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the commercial break halfway through, alongside a urgent Witchcraft TV news segment that has been pushing around on social media. But to no more ado, Mr. Rob, Mystical Mojo, how do you do?
I'm good. Thank you so much, sir. Gracias. Lucy Progress, life progress, Mr. Hare. Many blessings.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Sophia Jones, all the way from England, a benefactor of Witchcraft TV. It's nice for you to join us. We also have 5 or 6 other viewers, which I'm not really picking up, but if you're here, say hello in the comments. Love to know who you are and give you a shout out for that. If you would like a reading from our diviner, divination expert this evening, go ahead and let us know. Give us a question. Give us your zodiac. Our form of divination with Mystical Mojo includes bone throwing, tarot cards, and I also believe he has an oracle deck or 2. Is that right?
Yes, being a little hypothetical, being a little sarcastic, more than really just 2. To be honest, more than just a couple. So yeah, I offer a large variety of divination and psychic readings as well. Tonight I have the bones. Of course, I've got the tarot. I've got the oracle. I've got the pendulum. Let's see what else I have. Bone readings, playing cards. Yeah.
Nice. So many different forms of divination to add to the spectrum. Yeah, I heard that. Oh yeah, that's right. The playing cards, tarot cards, oracle cards, bone throwing. I'm with it. I like it. I like the diversity. Diversity is great. Shout out to Household Magic and Shenanigans. Thank you so much. Yeah, blessings to you. Blessed be. Thanks for stopping by the Witchcraft TV Tarot segment on social media. And Sophia Jones, hello, Harold, Rob, Sophia from England, blessed to be across the pond. Love having you on. Thank you so much for supporting the endeavors of Witchcraft TV. Rob, bringing mystical talents to the Witchcraft TV platform, offering free readings to all who seek guidance, readings designs to help maintain the platform. So how has your week been?
My week has been totally blessed, busy but blessed. Busy but blessed, preparing for a couple engagements, classes, and things of that nature. So I've been staying busy with preparing, to teach these next few events and classes, and some spiritual work, as well as pre-readings for some clients, and so blessed but busy as well. Thank you.
So what kind of classes do you teach out? What kind of classes are you teaching?
Oh, thank you, Harold. That's an excellent question. So I teach a large variety of topics, a large variety of classes, all pretty much revolving around, well, this is like going down the rabbit hole a little bit, perhaps. Revolving around hoodoo work and conjure specifically. So the next class that I will actually be teaching is actually about oil lamps, how to work oil lamps within your spiritual work, and things such as the basics of the anatomy of an oil lamp, to how to work, your curio into the lamp, um, petitions, and etc. So, as well as I have other classes as well that I've taught and previously, or a couple upcoming ones as well. Cardomancy. I actually had a osteomancy both are in class, so just several all around classes that I hope to you know give this knowledge to those that see it, and things like that.
So yeah, thanks so much for coming on to the Witchcraft TV platform, offering some of your skills in divination. Excuse me. If one would be interested in some of your classes, how would they go about finding you? Is it simple as like a Facebook Messenger? Do you have a website, or how do they get a hold of you?
Mystical Mojo, mystical with a K, Mystikal, Mojo, the Facebook. Excuse me, Mr. Hill.
That's all right.
The Facebook page is the most appropriate, Mystical Mojo, as well as I have Instagram and TikTok. As well, I offer a large variety of services, including spiritual consultations, classes, custom-made products when it's a necessity, of course, without all that rework in New Orleans voodoo, and also some espiritismo as well.
So in your classes, you actually are doing some teachings of New Orleans voodoo, like that's what I just heard.
Oh yes, yes, that's fundamental. As far as my own spiritual practices and what they consist of, my own tradition, or uh, that would all, of course, be incorporated. Excuse me, within my spiritual traditions and practices, and um, etc. How I would therefore teach the events and what they would consist of, and yeah, so absolutely.
Very, very cool. So on the bottom there, Mystical Mojos on Facebook, TikTok, offering classes on New Orleans styled voodoo. All right. So in the comments, we have someone out there, well, Miss Sophia Jones, all the way across the pond in England, asking for a general reading. Bones, please. She is a Leo rising Sagittarius.
Let me see what I can get tonight. Let me see what I can get tonight. She would like a bone reading specifically
Yeah.
for Miss Jones.
Right, a
Oh,
bone reading. Shout
I
out
would
to
be.
Vista Millard. Hello from a very cold and frozen Florida. And we're not too much warmer out here in the Midwest. I think the entire country is getting a bit of a freeze.
this is not the best setup tonight for bone readings, specifically with the techno and the way that the laptop is and things, etc. So, and excuse my scratchy voice, I have a little bit of a cold, so I'll do my very best. But let me scoot this back. Mr. Harold, I hope you can still hear me well. Otherwise, let me know, and I'll go ahead and try to throw the bones tonight the best I can.
Sophia said, gosh, oil lamp petitions, that is unusual.
Yes, yes. It's honestly, to just very quickly to touch on that. Thank you for that comment. Just very very quickly, it is something that I fear that is dying out. It's not being taught that often, or honestly across the board, it's really like not being taught properly that much anymore. Things like that. So, by all means, catch the classes, and they're available on replay as well, and etc. So, thank you. Miss Jones. Miss Jones. For this general bone reading. A general bone reading for Miss Jones tonight.
Rob bringing mystical talents to the Witchcraft TV platform, offering free readings to all who seek guidance. Readings designed to help maintain the platform. An avid regular playing card reader, oracle reader, tarot card reader, and throwing bones.
So this is for Sophia. This is a really interesting reading for Sophia because I have some intricate, ooh la la kinds of insight for Miss Sophia Jones. Miss Sophia Jones, you have some major obligations you need to pay attention to right now. I feel the fact that Lady Luck is in your favor, but it's almost like you have some type of underlying transition is going to happen, or you need to pay attention to where you are with how you're perceiving your luck and your blessings. You have a lot of things here that are happening, but the two spiritual pieces both are in reverse and moving away from you. Both the pentacle, excuse me. I know this isn't the best setup. You can't necessarily see the mat, so apologies. But it is going away from you in the outermost sector. So that is a little concerning. So you have some blockages here with basically in the future going on. As well, the petrified wood is over here in your future section. Over you that is represented here in the middle as well. So just pay attention to your you're gonna have to dig really deeply to overcome your blocks and overcome your obstacles. I would do a blockbuster work. If I were you, I would look into doing some blockbuster work, some spiritual work, some blockbuster work. That should definitely help open your roads and blow up what is around you within the way of your success. Many blessings. Are we here, Mr. Harold?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Oh, Vesta says that Florida is frozen over. Oh my, ideos mio. This is not good news. Not good news at all.
Mystical Mojo is also on Facebook, TikTok, offering classes on New Orleans-styled voodoo.
Yes, absolutely conjure work and hoodoo, but that's I practice obviously voodoo, so indeed.
Sophia across the pond said, "Get well, Rob. Get soon, Rob. Get well soon, Rob." And she also says, "Yes, I have been stunted by ill health for 1 year." So we definitely send our blessings and goodwill across the pond. Godspeed, goddess speed For sure. For sure. So what's the topic in your classes this past week or by weeks? What kind of stuff have you been talking about over there?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hill. That's an excellent question. Random. That was a random one. So here's a little tip because I like you, Mr. Hill. Here's a little something for you. So, well, the oil lamp class is specifically the class that is coming up next. And so, with that being said, I think that I think that one of the things that is imperative with oil lamp specifically, it's really important, emphasized within the event, within the class, is the ancestor reverence and the historically why that an oil lamp. Many people use, services, do service or work nowadays with candles. So, why preserve? Why uh, does it stand? Why would we want this tradition to be ongoing? In its power behind it, it's really important. Ashe.
I've been seeing a lot of different like dialects or different ways of saying things. And I think I've heard it mostly from you. It's like different slogans and sayings that you say. And I think, I mean, discernment says that you're giving like a blessing or you're saying something and it's suited, specifically for your spirituality. But
Yes,
what's one of the more common blessings or statements that you often make that you often, that we see on social media? And what do you say? Can you say it and then explain what it means?
and that's a great question. That is a fabulous question. Okay, so I will do my very best randomly to answer your question without saying too much, or saying what I'm allowed to say, because
Right.
some of it is, of course, I'm a Haitian voodoo practitioner. So with being into Haitian voodoo is a closed religion. And therefore, if you have regular honor, you're part of a house, you're part of a societe, you have godparents and things like that, you may not be able to speak about certain things if you were initiated into, you know, and etc. Okay, with that being said, speaking about Haitian voodoo, one of the words that I love and it's just so powerful is Ayi Bobo. Ayi Bobo.
I.e. Bobo.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, of course, if you're not within the diaspora and you're not practicing voodoo or another African traditional religion, they all have their own salutes. They all have their own specific, verbiage and things like that. But Ai Bobo basically translates to amen. And Ai Bobo is often, you're going to hear the word Ai Bobo specifically, definitely after the songs and the prie, the prayers, etc. So Ai Bobo.
So I.e. Bobo is another way of saying like amen.
Yes,
And then
yes.
for the ones in our community and the Wiccans and pagan communities, it's like saying so mote that shit
So
or so
motivated.
mote it be. So I.e. Bobo is like a way of saying so mote it be, amen, or so it is. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that with us. I really appreciate that. Is there any other like dialect that's kind of universal?
Oh, there's so many. It's so beautiful when you get into voodoo specifically. It gets very complex, of course, with the Creole language and with things how they can vary regionally. The societe, the reglement varies from the north to the south sometimes culturally. So it gets very complex. It's very beautiful, and uh, it absolutely is. And that's just voodoo, like because you get into the other African traditional religions, and then you're going to be talking about like you may hear the word alafia, Walukami or Ifa, versus other keywords within each religion that are very powerful. and things. It's beautiful. It's very delicate and very. I didn't mean to say delicate. Well, I suppose it is, but I meant it's very. I said delicate. I can't, where did I get that at? But it's very. It, it's an amazing religions and traditions are. They're very amazing, powerful. Absolutely.
So a little bit of activity in the chat room here. Sophia said she was talking about how she was been stunted by ill health for 1 year, and that it was in conjunction with your reading for her. She said she hasn't celebrated any of the seasonal festivals, and I think that even if you, like, celebration is kind of like how you celebrate is kind of a personal thing, your own spiritual kind of discernment or realization. Sometimes I think we can celebrate seasonal changes just by acknowledging or observing that it's happening. So that's how I feel about that. But if you do, but if Sophia does have anything that she celebrates that she hasn't, I do hope that she has better health very soon, and that those things can happen for her. Because celebrating the Sabbats and the Isbets in my own spirituality brings me such great joy. In the chat room, Fire Jewel Howard, good evening. Good evening to you. Glad to have you on and watching Witchcraft TV Tarot with Rob, an avid bone thrower, a jack of all trades and divination. He is a tarot card reader, oracle reader, and reading regular playing cards. Sophie in the chat room, fascinating that Haitian voodoo is an initiated closed tradition. Tiger Marie Smith says, I like delicate. And Sophia brings up an interesting point, which was I was going to talk about with Rob just now. She said, fascinating that Haitian voodoo is an initiated closed tradition. And that's very, very true. I've interviewed a few practitioners of hoodoo and voodoo. And that's very true. Like, there's some things that you just are not going to hear about or they talk about. I think that particular spirituality is very much a lot more closed, and I could be wrong about this, a lot more closed than contemporary witchcraft and Wicca, as far as the information is accessible via online, because you can basically look up just about anything about the craft. But as far as, and that might be very true with voodoo too, but Rob, why is that particular spirituality so closed? Is it because there yields power and secrecy?
Ashe, Mr. Hales. Why is it? It is absolutely imperative, I think, that we understand. We would have to understand this, the principles, the basics. Why is it particularly closed? Is because it's historically foundations of what makes voodoo. What makes the Haitian Revolution and the history of the revolution. The voodoo stood a large part of being part of the Haiti Revolution itself in the late 1700s. And so, with that being said, it's so cultural and it's so prevalent to understand that if that's a closed religion and a closed, because it's always been closed versus now New Orleans voodoo, which is not the same, or African voodoo, or the other, excuse me, or the other African traditional religions and traditions within the diaspora as well. So it gets really complex and it gets really complicated. You really do have to know your ins and outs of these particular the diaspora and ATRs. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's well worth getting to know who's who and what's what, as well, per se. I know this is random, but what is a Ungon versus a Bokor versus what is a Ungon versus Ianifa or and etc. So
Very
these
cool.
things are really, really important.
Well, hey, if you're just joining Witchcraft TV Tarot and you would like a reading by our multi-talented mystical mojo who reads bones, oracles, playing cards, tarot cards, give a question in the chat room and we can make that happen for you. We'll be looking at that, and we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back for your readings and to talk more about New Orleans styled voodoo.
Do y'all know about Witchcraft TV online? I've been watching that the last couple days. Constantly going, I'm learning interesting stuff. And it turns out, apparently, I have a show there at midnight every night at Witchcraft TV.online. Witchcraft TV.online. Check that out. I'm going to tune in at midnight and see what it is I'm doing there.
This is a Witchcraft TV special news update with your host, Harold Sanford Carter III.
All right, we're back. Witchcraft TV Tarot, Rob, aka Mystical Mojo, offering his talents to the Witchcraft TV online platform. In the chat room, a little bit of stuff going on in there. Fire Jewel Howard with In Hoodoo. They ask, have subtle differences. She says they all have subtle differences. How about an ancestor message? So I like that idea. That's a great idea. Fire Jewel Howard with a great idea. I like the idea about a message from the ancestors.
Indeed.
I suppose the message of the ancestors would just kind of be from a conglomeracy of, all of our energies, I guess, collectively, what the message would be. But that sounds great. That sounds great.
All right. All right. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's happening. So I'm going to concentrate on Fire Jewel Howard specifically. Ancestor message specifically for that first, and then roll with it. All right. All right. So this will be Fire Jewel Howard. Fire Jewel Howard.
Yeah, great question. Great question.
All right, this is what I'm actually receiving for Fire Jewel Howard. Fire Jewel Howard, you have an immense amount of energy that is happening around you and currently within you. I feel the fact that if you have went through a slump, I felt like that you were at a crossroads, that you are highly moving past tumultuous energies in a highly favorable situation coming up. This is a really positive message for you, that I'm actually being able to really give you this message. It's important you just take your time as well, because I do feel like the spirits are showing me you have a really exponentially quick and fast schedule coming up within the next 2 months. Going towards spring, I feel the fact that your schedule really does increase a lot in the next three months or so. So with that being said, just take your time. Don't over exaggerate. What is it? Exuberate, I think is the fancy word that I was going for. The big one right there. So, but don't, overwork, overdo yourself and things like that, of that nature. The spirits are showing, but they're showing me a really heightened sense of energy that's around you and a really busy time coming up. I see a grand change for you, a successful period happening coming up. You have the Seven of Clubs at the end, so this is fantastic with this movement and of exciting energy with this Eight of Hearts. So that's really exciting. That's fantastic news for you happening. Many blessings.
So much. Thank you so much for that, Rob. Thank you so much, Fire Jewel. That's a really good question. Had a lot of fun with that. Rob, what's the difference between voodoo and hoodoo? Which one's earlier? Which one's first? Are you even allowed to talk about it?
That's an excellent question. So that depends on, let's see. Regionally, let's start right there for a second. Okay, so regionally, let's voodoo and hoodoo. Sometimes today's hoodoo looks like what we would call probably like Marie Laveau, her tradition style of the blend of Catholicism, the saints, along with the being syncretized with, in the form of standing in or masking the Loa, or sometimes even Orisha within New Orleans voodoo. Okay, itself. So you're gonna see vast regional differences with hoodoo, conjure, and voodoo. Specifically, the forms of voodoo, because you also have plantation voodoo. You got Louisiana voodoo, etc. So there are some key differences. I would say one of the things that's primarily different um, is the fact that you'll find the Bible being used in hoodoo, specifically, and uh, versus a lot of Catholic proponents or saints, things like that as well, coming over on the voodoo end. Just to name a couple brief uh, differences.
Thanks for answering some of those questions. In the chat room, Fire Jewel Howard said voodoo's first, hoodoo came next, and that kind of makes a lot of sense. Well, at least in the United States, she says.
Well, actually, it's very well. I wasn't trying to get into the hot topics, talk about put the pressure on me randomly as well to be 100% real. Meaning the fact that, of course, this gets into whether gatekeeping, as well as whether hoodoo would be, generally speaking, open or closed, and etc. Which I know this is a random topic and where this is going. So I didn't know whether, you know what I mean. I didn't want to go ahead and proceed with that, because that does. She says hoodoo within voodoo, voodoo within hoodoo. It depends. That's not necessarily correct either. Specifically, within context of the transatlantic slave trade, or sometimes within the diaspora, and within the diaspora, the slave trade would have incorporated the Obeah people within Jamaica and come up as well. So it's really hard to tell regionally speaking. It gets really complex.
So if you're just joining us, Rob bringing mystical talents to the Witchcraft TV platform, offering free readings to all who seek guidance, readings designed to help maintain the platform. He's an avid bone thrower, playing card reader, tarot card reader, oracle reader, multi-talented. And we're talking a little bit about his spirituality today on the show. If you have any questions about his spirituality, and not to put you on the spot, Rob, But our viewers love to hear about alternative spirituality. Witchcraft TV, www.witchcrafttv.online is a fair representation of all pagan witch and magic paths. I would say that a conjure man or a voodoo and hoodoo definitely falls in those brackets, in that group. So yeah, it's really cool to have someone on the show, not only reading divination for the show, but also giving us entry-level education for the show. Now, if I may ask, well, first of all, if anybody in the chat room would like a reading, please say so. But I'm full of questions because I want to keep the conversations going, the show intriguing. And I could probably look this up, but I'm just kind of lazy today. What does it mean to be a conjure person? And is it segregated by gender? Can a female be a conjure woman? Because I've heard of like conjure man or conjureman, or what does it mean to be a conjurer exactly?
Excellent. That's an excellent question.
Isn't it?
Listen, Harold, that's an excellent question, man. I
Cool.
mean, like some people would say that's a really simplistic kind of, what does it mean to be a conjure? Listen, because there's technical differences, and I just have to vent for a moment. You just tell me to digress for a second. In a second. Don't let me go on over it now, Harold, Mr. Harold.
It's all right. We
well,
welcome
listen.
Chris Mummert to the Witchcraft TV Tarot. Thanks for coming on. Absolutely. Greetings from the metaverse. Fire Jew, how I like the bones for ancestor reads. I think the bones are a great form of divination. You're right, Fire.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Mr. Harold, the simplistic truth is there are technical differences within the terms, and I'm so happy that you asked that, even though it did sound simplistic. I wanted to give the best answer that if I may, that I can really quickly, and historically and factually and otherwise, as well. There is a difference. There is a difference, absolutely, between a root worker, a conjurer, a two-headed doctor, a seer. The list goes on and on and on. But yes, absolutely, and it may sound like a basic question, but it's important to really understand that not everybody has the strong suits in and is not supposed to, or not meant to, in every single thing. Not everybody has built the muscles, the psychic muscles, and the skill set within everything. And I feel like the new age things, and nowadays sometimes people are, all about everything, and there's certain skill sets that are acquired, and conjurer versus root worker versus two-headed doctor, and things. A conjurer is somebody that facilitates changes in conditions. Somebody that facilitates changes in conditions. This is what I like to say. That can conjure. That can conjure down the spirits. Indeed.
Also, Mystical Mojo is on Facebook, TikTok, offering classes on New Orleans-styled voodoo. If you would like a bone casting with Rob, state a question in your zodiac. He's also proficient in reading playing cards, oracle cards, and tarot cards. The show here is to ensure the continued accessibility and growth of the Witchcraft TV network. We kindly invite you to consider making a donation. Your generous support will help us maintain the station. Rob, so what's going on with, let's see, the spirits, or the way that you talk to spirits? What's the interaction with spirits as you see it in your spirituality? Do you talk to spirits? Do you hear them? Do you see them? Or
Absolutely. That's a wonderful, beautiful question. That is a wonderful, beautiful question, because absolutely, as somebody that works with and serves, to be 100% honest and correct, um, the spirits within voodoo, as well as I specifically have another set, a few spirits out of another set of spirits that I also work with. So it depends on the definitely what one is trying to obtain, or in my situation, I have certain obligations that I meet and work with specific spirits at the same time, or that's same kind of spiritual work weekly, let's say, or etc. So I absolutely do work with spirits and see spirits, serve spirit, etc.
Very cool, very beautiful. And thank you so much for coming on Witchcraft TV Tarot. We're getting up towards the end of the show. And I did want to just, say briefly, our YouTube channel on Witchcraft TV was compromised, and a lot of good historical footage, that I've archived or interviewed. Some interviews, folks are no longer here anymore. Aaron for an example, is one of them. But there is some footage that was well stashed away where nobody can get to it. And I want to end Witchcraft TV Tarot with that footage. And it's a very rare footage. Well, it's not rare, but it's not captured. Like, there's not much video floating around of Gerald B. Gardner. And I want to let everyone know that video footage like this and other video footage of that likeness is well preserved and safe on Witchcraft TV. Here's Gerald B. Gardner right here, y'all. Y'all have a great evening, and I'll see you back tomorrow night right here on Witchcraft TV Tarot. Keep it right here, Witchcraft TV, www.witchcrafttv.online. Fair representation for all pagan, witch, and magic paths. But before we go and play that clip, do you have any parting words of wisdom, Rob?
Shay, thank you so much for having me tonight. Many blessings. May be blessed you, bless me.
Blessed it be.
As we weren't able to produce any fairies, we found a self-professed witch instead, Dr. G.B. Gardner. Sweeping the crossroads near his home in Castledown, placing the dust in a shoe in which it's taken indoors, is done to simulate sweeping away continuous bad luck. These superstitions are typical. Many fishermen will still cancel a fishing trip if they see a red-haired woman or a cross-eyed man. In a tiny island 30 miles by 10 miles, there's a whole world of beauty, interest, and enchantment.